year of administrative experience, and fortunately I was hired. Then I was in the Monticello district for the next, gosh, 16, 17 years. I was principal there at Whiteheath for 3 years, and then transitioned to Lincoln School for 13, and then went on to Washington School this last year when the district reorganized and we had Lincoln close. So we had preschool through third grade all in the same building at Washington, and I was happy to be there as it was my youngest daughter's senior year in high school. So she and I, kind of neat. My first year in the Monticello district, my oldest started preschool as a 3-year-old in the district, and then my last year in the district, my youngest graduated.
Wow.
So I started and finished in the Monticello School District with my daughters.
That's great. Yeah, kind of came full circle a little bit then.
Absolutely. And then in the meantime, I'm engaged to Brent. Brent has 2 children. I have 2 children. So between the two of us, his daughter Kansas is living and working in Indianapolis now. And then my daughter Macy will be a junior at Purdue. She's majoring in applied statistics. I tell her, good for you. Somebody has to do it. And then my youngest Katie will be a freshman at the University of Kentucky in Lexington, majoring in psychology. And then Brent's son Jack, I think you probably would know, because Jack Buckaloo, he will be a senior at Monticello High School. I know you have called some of the baseball games where he has pitched.
That's cool.
We're proud of all 4 of them. They're all just really great kids. So I'm thankful that we get to see Jack through his senior year at Monticello, and with Kansas, she's just started her job, and Katie is just starting college. So we have a lot of new events happening in our house. But with that good family support system between them and Sheila Greenwood, they all encouraged me to apply for this superintendent position for Bement. And knowing that I had the support of my family and the outgoing superintendent made it feel a little less daunting. So applying for the position, I made it clear to the board, this is not a situation where I am out there looking to move on into the superintendency. I would have been very content to stay in Monticello until I retire as a building administrator. So had I not been hired as the Bement superintendent, I would be one of the Monticello administrators this year. But being hired in Bement, it's really, it's hard to put into words how thankful I am for the opportunity, because I have no regrets about making the move to the superintendency in Bement. It's been a great transition.
Well, to that end, Mrs. Vogt, what has been, to this point, what has been the biggest change for you in terms of that transition from a building administrator to a district administrator per se?
One of my biggest challenges that I've noticed is I can start a school year as a building principal really well. I'm learning how to start a school year as a superintendent. So that has been a challenge for me, because some of the things that I'm used to doing this time of year, I have an amazing administrative team, and Doug Kepley, 6 through 12 principal, and then Christy Sweet, she's pre-K through 5 principal, but then also AD for 6 through 12. And they are on top of it. They are ready. They know what they're doing. So just being able to remind myself, some of these tasks aren't my responsibility anymore. And so not that I'm sitting here with nothing to do, going through and doing a tentative budget for the first time took more time than I was anticipating, but we have that tentative budget ready to go. It has also been a little bit different. Starting here, we have a window project where we're replacing windows on the entire east side of our high school building. So I got my feet wet on day one with managing contractors, et cetera, and trying to make sure I was communicating with everyone here on site about what to expect. So just trying to feel my way through what are my responsibilities, what responsibilities do I need to make sure that my building principals are taken care of, and trying not to let anything fall through the cracks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure you're well aware of this. Again, our guest on the phone today, Mrs. Mary Vogt, is the first-year superintendent of Bement Schools, and we're pleased to have her on the program with us here for today. Like I said, Mrs. Vogt, I'm sure you're well aware, but get ready to attend a lot of meetings, from what I understand. Reach out to your peers all the time for discussions and such, and it's, well, I'm in a meeting, call me later, or I'm in a meeting that day, let's do another day. So I would say get ready to go to or attend a lot of meetings.
Absolutely, yes.
Sure. Yeah, and Mrs. Vogt, I go ahead. I'm sorry.
Our district secretary was chuckling because I have my electronic calendar on my phone. I have just a 1 week dry erase board calendar that I update every week, so I can see boom right there. And then I have a monthly calendar hanging on my bulletin board. And she's like, my goodness, you have enough calendars. But you're right. There are a lot of meetings, and I just don't want to miss anything.
Sure. Well, and I say this, somewhat kind of tongue in cheek, but also sincere, I guess, is how thankful are you that you are taking over this role coming out of COVID instead of going into COVID, like I know some of your peers had to do in Central Illinois. How about that?
I am extremely thankful. I'm not going to pretend like we won't still have after effects of the pandemic, but sitting down as building administrators when the pandemic started and trying to feel our way through all of this, I knew I was only getting a fraction of the communication that the superintendent, Vic Zimmerman, was getting, and it was overwhelming what I was getting. I can't even imagine what him and his colleagues were going through, including Dr. Greenwood. It was it's going through something you've never been through before. It's something you're not trained for, and nobody else has been through it to lean on and be able to provide you with that advice. So I'm extremely thankful that I'm coming into the superintendency on the other side of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I feel like what Bement has done with following the IDPH and CDC guidelines, it's established for the community. This is how we're going to handle it. And so now, if God willing, nothing happens major this year, that's what we'll continue to do. We'll follow the IDPH and CDC guidelines, and we will do everything we can to keep our students safe.
What are you most excited about in this new role?
Oh gosh, Seth, I think most excited is the opportunity to work in a community where it is so evident that the families here are supportive of the district, they care, and being able to immerse myself in the community and get to know the families and just keep Bement going forward. As you know, when Sheila started, fund balances were not good. She's left me in a position to make some improvements that were not possible when she took over. So I'm excited to see where the district can go. Mm-hmm. We've increased our enrollment. Right now, we're like plus 15 from where we ended last school year. So I'm excited to keep those trends going.
Mm-hmm. In terms of, school teachers, a lot of times superintendents come from a classroom teaching background, and you talked mm-hmm. a little bit about that when you talked or started earlier, Mrs. Vogt, about your passion mm-hmm. to be in the classroom. The superintendent's role is one of the most, especially in a district, is one of the most separated from the classroom in terms of your interaction with kids and the hands-on teaching and things of that nature. Talk a little mm-hmm. bit about, just kind of gradually getting away from that and as an educator, what that, how that passion just, to still be in the classroom, how do you balance that, I guess?
And that's where I feel like I am extremely fortunate in the physical location of our school district. So yes, we do have an elementary school, we have a middle school, we have a high school, but they're all under one roof. And my office is right here among, I have a middle school math classroom right next door to my office. There's third grade just right down the hall. Above me is first, second, fourth, and fifth grades. So I am here physically among the students and the staff. So I feel like that's where I'll be able to establish, when I have, those meetings that you talk about and responsibilities that I need to take care of at the district level. I have my office, I have my space, I'll be able to do that. But then I'll also be able to get out into the hallways between classes, just pop down into the cafeteria during lunchtime. I want to be the superintendent who the students know and recognize and understand. Ultimately my job is to make sure they have everything they need for successful education.
Yeah. And, I must confess, not that I really ever intended to know who the superintendent was, but when I was in school, I never, ever knew who the superintendent was, but the district I went to was much, much bigger. But all that being said, Mrs. Vogt, final thoughts on just transition to Bement Schools. We can talk about the, start of school and the things happening at a board level and the things that you'll be impactful in terms of decision making and all that next. But anything just on your journey to Bement Schools we didn't touch on, you want to put out there for us?
Well, I feel like for those who aren't aware of this about me, my great-grandparents actually moved from Castle Island, Ireland to the Bement Idesdale area. So I have, the senior composite pictures hanging in the high school, I have several great aunts and uncles whose pictures hang there. I mean, this is where my family came to from Ireland. This is where I had several family members go to school and graduate from here. Some didn't graduate. I mean, my grandpa, for example, when he was in 8th grade, he was the oldest boy in the family. And so he stayed home and helped farm. That was back in the 1920s. So I feel like for me personally and my family history, it's another coming full circle opportunity that, out of all the school districts, I end up in the one where my family started when they came to the country.
Wow, that is so cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Mrs. Vogt, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here, come back and chat a little more. That is Mary Vogt. She is the first-year superintendent of Bement Schools, our guest on the phone for this morning. More to come with her here on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW. Keep you connected. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat trading higher. September corn 627.5 up 6 1/4. December corn up 624.5. March corn 631 1/4 up 5 1/2. August beans up 36.5, 1725 1/4. September beans up 18 3/4, 1527 3/4. November beans 1446 up 18 1/4. September wheat up 17.5, 817 1/4. December wheat 832.5 up 16 1/4. August bean meal 523.10 up 750. August bean oil 70.56 up 87 cents. August feeders 180.47 down 20 cents. August live cattle up 60 cents, 139.80. And August lean hogs, 122.27. That's up 2 cents. In the energy market, September crude oil, 92.74, up 81 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
When you're shopping for a different car or truck, we don't expect you to come in knowing exactly what you want. That's our job. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. Our staff is trained to ask questions, listen, and help you find the right vehicle that fits your needs. Whether you need 3 rows of seats or something sporty to zip around town with, we'll find the right transportation solution which checks all the right boxes just for you. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson here with a supply chain update. While we're working as best we can to keep our shelves stocked with the items you need and want every day, we're experiencing never-before-seen interruptions in product availability and delivery, both through Save-A-Lot and our direct suppliers. In most cases, they can't run their production lines due to the lack of workers, plus a shortage of truck drivers. Despite all that, we're working to keep the meat, produce, and other products you buy in stock and on our shelves every day. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
We're the late night place to be. Hi, Jim Bohannon here, host of the Jim Bohannon Show, heard weeknights from 9 till midnight on all of the WHOW platforms. Join me with stimulating guests and your calls on the topics of the day. We bring you guests to keep you in the know every weeknight from 9 till midnight. It's the Jim Bohannon Show on 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, 106.5 FM in Logan County, plus streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and again, my guest on the phone today, Mary Vogt. She is the superintendent of Bement Schools. And Mrs. Vogt, as we talk here for this morning, let's get down to Bement School business and tell us about first day of school. When do kids get back to classrooms there in Bement?
Our students start next Wednesday. So we have 2 Teacher Institute days on Monday and Tuesday, the 15th and 16th. Kindergarten through 12th grade starts on Wednesday, the 17th, and then our preschoolers start on Thursday, the 18th.
Very good. So about a week away, basically.
Yes, about a week away. We've already had middle school softball games take place. Our girls are 2-1 so far on the season. Boys baseball has started practicing. Cross country has started practicing. Football, I think you're aware we co-op with Sarah Gordo, so we have our first football game coming up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're off and running.
Sure. Well, you mentioned, Mrs. Vogt, you take over and already some projects and such to tackle there. Tell us a little bit about facilities. What are you walking into in terms of what their status is like, and just things that you're looking at to do maybe there. How about those things?
Sure. So Bement School District, the original part was built in 1899. So out of Champaign, Ford, Piatt counties, we have the oldest functioning school facility that is still in use, mm-hmm. which is amazing to think about, because when you walk in, the floors are in pristine shape. The district has provided window air conditioning units so that we're not dealing with those heat days anymore. Mm-hmm. But the facility, really, for being the age that it is in great shape. It's just some of the neat things that you don't get in the newer construction, those stair rails and the spindles that, you just can't buy the appearance mm-hmm. that you get in those older buildings. We do have a couple of areas like our main gym and the original small gym. Those areas are not air conditioned, so that's something that Sheila and I had talked about just here in the next few years, looking into what we could do to air condition those facilities as well. And I know I'm not sure how old you are, Seth, but I know at least when I was growing up going to school, we didn't have air conditioning facilities. We survived, but at the same time, we also didn't have to keep all of the windows and doors closed and locked. We didn't practice intruder drills. And, it's just a different day and age now. And mm-hmm. so when we do have to keep the building closed up during the day, it gets extremely hot. Mm-hmm. So it is important to think about what we can do to keep a comfortable learning environment. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I wanted to ask you about, and actually, Mrs. Vogt, I apologize. I have totally lost track of time. I have to let you go already, believe it or not. So let's save some of this for our next conversation, if that's okay.
That sounds fantastic.
Very good. Well, it's good to talk to you, Mrs. Vogt. Thank you again for making time with us. Mary Vogt is the superintendent of Bement Schools, my guest on the phone. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHO